What's going on? Beau D here with Melodic Minor Scale Theory Part 2. Was that right? Melodic Minor Scale Theory? Okay. Well, this is the second video in the two-part series of Melodic Minor Scale Theory. And again, this is some pretty tough stuff. So review the first video for sure. And for beginner musicians, you might want to tune out at this point. Earmuffs for beginner musicians, or you can kind of sit there and watch it and have that glazed look in your eyes. Well, here we go anyways, as much as I'd like to talk about that. When do we use the modes and the scales and the chords of melodic minor? Well, to review, we had minor major 7th, sus flat 9, or minor 7th is the 2, major 7 sharp 5, dominant 7th, half diminished, and again, your minor major on top. Your modes, melodic minor, Dorian flat 2, major 7, Lydian augmented, Lydian dominant, mixed flat 6, Locrian sharp 2, and then your alt scale. Okay, so let's get into when and why. We saw the what in video 1, video 2 happening right now. So minor major, when do you see a minor major? It tends to be a replacement chord for a minor 7th. Okay, it's a more exotic chord, so you'll see it in very kind of the old school Casablanca black and white movies. You'll hear, you know, that old school kind of creepy sound, but you'll see it as an exotic chord replacement for a minor 7th. And again, if you want to use melodic minor, you'll tend to see that chord as opposed to using a minor 7th, where you'll have to use a major scale diatonic mode to bring it out. Okay, so the second chord, when do you see the second chord, a minor 7th or sus flat 2, sus flat 9? You see that when you're resolving, again, if you want some tension release. So a 5 chord, sus flat 9, going a 5th away, very hip thing. The scale, if you see a sus chord, now anytime you see a sus chord, you can use that flat 9 as well to give it some tension. When do you see major 7 sharp 5? Well, here's an example. All the things you are. The A flat major 7th there, you can easily sharp the 5 and it sounds really good. When do you see Lydian augmented? Well, Lydian augmented is when there's a sharp 4 and a sharp 5. You'll tend to see Lydian augmented, an extended mode of major, the major 7 sharp 5 chord. So if you see the major 7 sharp 5, you'll see Lydian augmented. I'm rambling on a little bit, but once I get into this stuff, it's hard to stop. Okay, dominant 7th. When do you see a dominant 7th? Well, you see them everywhere. When you see Lydian augmented on dominant 7 sharp 11 chords, you see Lydian augmented. You'll see that a little bit more commonly than some of the melodic minor chords and scales. You'll actually see that in a lot of music. It's probably the most common chord that you'll see from melodic minor in normal pop music and basic harmony. Okay, the mixed flat 6 and the dominant 7th. When do you see that? When you're going to minor, you probably want to use mixed flat 6. The 5th mode of melodic minor. So again, that mixed flat 6 is when you're going to minor and you have a dominant, use that turnaround and that scale, that mixed flat 6 to get there. Locrian sharp 2, you'll see a half diminished chord, and using the 9 and the 11 is a great way to voice it. And you'll tend to see this chord when you see a half diminished and it's turning around to minor. So anytime you see a half diminished chord, just play it as a half diminished. Raise the 9 or the 2, play an 11 on top, and then you've got the 6th mode of melodic minor. Okay, when do you see the 7th mode? Well, all the time. Okay, an alt chord is an altered, anytime you're altering a chord, this is very important, we'll do it at the end of the video here. Altering is altering the 5 and the 9 at the same time. That's when you alt, or say alt chord. Again, it's known as a sharp, you'll see sharp 9, sharp 5 chords. That's the most famous alt chord. The scale, which is also known as diminished whole tone, has every tension possible. It has the flat 9, has the sharp 9, the 3, again, which we always have 3. You're going to have your sharp 11, sharp 5, flat 7, and then your octave. Very, very trippy scale. Email the site for questions on that one, or do a little investigative research and reporting to find out a little bit more about the alt scale. Can't get into it a lot right now because we're covering all the modes, but that's the 7th mode. And then right back into C minor major and C melodic minor. So again, I hope this was a helpful video, a very fast run through of some very heady topics. Usually for this type of material, I like to spend a little bit more time, but the two-part series might have done it some justice. I hope you enjoyed watching. I'm Beau D. I'm going to bring out some of these scales and chords. This stuff gets me all tongue-tied. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time.